What is going on, guys? Got a gameplay commentary for you today, and the gameplay commentary will be a topic commentary. I've only made one of these before, and it was about American language and British language and how they're different. So if you want to check that out, there might be a link in the description, or you can just search it on my channel. So yeah, this is going to be my second topic video, and the topic today is about disguising in TF2. And this came about because of one of my subscribers asking me a question. Well, not a question, but he watched one of my spy videos and said that he noticed that I do not disguise much, and he said, well, you should disguise more often. And I said, well, you know what, it's quite hard to explain, so I'll make a video about it. And yeah, so here we are. I decided to go for a gameplay where I kind of purposely change disguise a little more often than I usually do, because I did want to get this gameplay. The gameplay is very short, it's on upward, and it's a defense game, so yeah. So basically, what I wanted to say mainly for the topic is that, first of all, spy, if there's any experienced player, they will not believe a disguise, and they will spy check you. That's any experienced player, because they have been playing the game for long enough that they're smart enough to spy check everybody they see. Also, if you have a disguise, you need to kind of back it up with a bit of something realistic. And if you can't back it up, say for example I was walking just straight at a heavy's back while disguised, it's very suspicious even though I do have a disguise. And sometimes spies can get a bit confused why they're not doing well, because they think that the disguise kind of gives them immunity from being checked, but it really doesn't. It's such a hard job for spies now, because the more that people get experience with TF2, the more people get aware of certain classes and how they work. And spy is an example of one of them. And yeah, so it's very hard to make it look believable as well, because I think spy, there used to be a lot of acting in it and walking backwards and stuff, and I used to do that a lot, and I find it really only does work with the noobs. And I'm sorry about the talking in this video, but I was just talking to some guy saying that I'll trade him later. But yeah, so I find it really hard to be a convincing actor for TF2 Spy, because experienced players just don't believe you, no matter how good at walking backwards are, how good at pretending you're getting shot by your own teammates. It's still very hard to do, especially when everyone will spy check you. And another thing is that, you know, if if a player knows that they've been backstabbed a few times by a spy, they're gonna spy check everybody, no matter how good of a player they are. They're gonna get a bit suspicious and watch their back. So disguises cannot always work, but they definitely do help, because it makes people have to think before they check you, and that's always good. For example, the Saharan spy set, people will check you automatically because you haven't got a disguise, but when you have got a disguise, it's a little bit of a different story. I'm not sure how it works, but it definitely does work a bit like that. But yeah, he was saying, why don't you change disguise more often? And yeah, the reason is because I find that even when I do change disguise, it really doesn't help me. I mean, yeah, obviously I will change disguise. I need to change it at least one time a game, so most of the time I will go as sniper disguise, and then maybe halfway through the game I'll change to pyro. But usually I don't really disguise more often than that. It's because there's so many different styles of play for spy in TF2. My style is more based on not relying on disguises, if you can know what I mean, not relying on having to change. It's more of actual just the skill of being hidden, because you learn that skill when you use the dead ringer anyway, because you haven't got an invisi-watch, but you still got to be unseen. So I don't rely on disguises as much as Maybe other players do, and that's not a bad thing, and it's not a good thing either, because like I said, there's so many different styles of spy for TF2. So if one person thinks it's good to disguise and that works for them, then it works for them. It doesn't necessarily work for all people. And also with my videos as well, the way that I play spy is tailored to me, and especially when you're watching YouTube videos of people play spy, there are some general tips you can follow to get good at it, but you need to get your own style and get good with it, because what works for somebody else will not necessarily work for you. For example, some people can use the ambassador for a pistol spy and rely on heavy headshots a lot of the time, but if you're not good at aiming, then you're going to have to rely on being more of a stabbing spy. So, you know, it's the same with the zapper and the knife. If you aren't very good at backstabbing people, then you can just go for the zaps. It's the exact same story. So what works for someone else might not work for you. But what I was talking about was that disguises for me don't really help me. That's because I just try to remain hidden as much as possible and not be in the enemy's eyes as a disguised spy, and I rely more on just appearing at unknown times. That's how I usually play spy. So when an enemy's not expecting to get backstabbed, I'll be there like in a chaotic moment when they're already being shot at, or in a blind corner or somewhere like that. So yeah, that's really how I kind of play. Like this here, this is a perfect example. I wasn't really relying on my disguise to make it convincing, because I knew that he'd kind of spotted me. I just waited for the distraction, and again, I didn't wait for a disguise here, because the first thing he did was spy check me. So even if I did change disguise, like I start changing disguises now quite frequently, and you'll see that it doesn't really benefit me that much. I mean, also, again, I can mention this, that this is my view, and if you disagree with this view, don't get too defensive, because like I said, what works for some people doesn't work for others. So yeah, so it didn't help me at all really, this gameplay, when I was changing disguise. It just didn't help me. Sometimes it can help you, but I find it's with the more newbie players, and it can help me a little bit, because it makes the enemies think, especially when you've just died and you change disguise. And when I say die, I mean been dead ringer triggered, but when you die and then come back as a different disguise, some players, even experienced ones, won't cotton on. That's if they don't know that you're using the dead ringer. Like this guy here, he kind of like didn't know, and I think I was disguised as maybe a pyro, and then I changed it, and then I tried to go for him again, and then I changed back to pyro, and I did end up getting the backstab, but that was mainly not really because of the disguise, but because he was distracted. So this was a player called I'm Flash, so shout out to him for asking me the question. This is the gameplay that I said I would make for you, and it's also for others as well. So hope you're watching, and also if anybody else wants to get some topics going, like ask me some things, I might make some more videos on what you want to ask, and I'll make a video about me talking about it. So thank you for watching, guys. Have a nice day.